Hey, this is Mike from Minimal 3DP, and today I'm going to start at 0 and go back to calibrating my Sovol SV-08 with my OrcaSlicer Masterclass. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, one of the mistakes I made when I started this OrcaSlicer Masterclass in calibration was I probably should have done an extruder calibration. Now, that is not one of the recommended tests by OrcaSlicer, but that probably would have saved me some headaches. So today I'm going to create a part 0 of this series where I show you how to do extruder calibration. So right now I'm going to switch over to the printer and let's take a look. Now, extruder calibration is actually really simple. Now, what it is it's looking at the filament, looking at the extruder, and measuring how much filament can be pushed through and at what rate. Now, under extrusion is the idea that you're saying you're going to push out 100 millimeters of filament, and it only pushes out 90. Over extrusion is, again, you're pushing out that same 100 millimeters of filament, and instead of 100, it puts out 110. So with our calibration, what we're trying to do is make sure when I say 100, it's pushing out 100. Now, in my case, I really shouldn't have had to do this, but then because I changed hot ends, I really should have recalibrated, and I just wasn't thinking. Now, in order to do the recalibration, I start with a ruler. I have some blue painter's tape. We're just going to do a simple method here. Let me get a fresh bit of tape here so it's nice and sticky. So I'm going to take my tape, take my ruler, and I'm going to put this at 120 millimeters, or you could say a 12 centimeters. So I have that on here. Then I'm going to measure from where the filament enters the extruder and transfer my tape. I'm trying to be careful here, and I'm just going to hold this. So right now I have this piece of tape is right here at 12 centimeters or 120 millimeters. Now, why 120 when I mentioned 100? I'm doing that because I want to push out 100 millimeters of filament and then have space, so that way I can measure exactly how much came out. So we have this all measured. Let's turn the printer on, and we're going to heat this to the temperature I normally print on this, which off the check, I think it's 210. And let this heat up, and then we'll run this through. I'll show you the commands on the interface. So let's switch back over to my computer, and we'll do that. If you're anything like me, it's a pain to have to remember all the various calculations as well as the tests and calibrations you need to do on your printer. That's why I've gone ahead and put together my calculator hub as well as a variety of other tools to help you in your 3D printing journey. So if you get a chance, head on over to go.minimal3dp.com and take a look. And hey, I put it together so you don't have to. So I've switched over and I'm accessing everything through Mainsail. I've went ahead and heated the printer to 210, which is my normal print temperature. Now my next step, I'm going over to one of my calculators on my website, and I'll put a link in the video description. This is my rotation distance calculator. And I'm just going to copy these two commands, and I'll explain them when I paste them in. So I'm going to copy those, go back over here and paste these in to the console. ME3 is changing it to relative distance. And then what I'm telling the printer here is to extrude 100 millimeters. And I'm extruding, this is based on recommendations, extruding 100 millimeters at 1 millimeter per second. It should be noted that I'm slowing it down, so this will take a little over a minute to finish because it's going to be 60 millimeters per minute. So almost 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and hit proceed. So you can see it's spitting out filament. Now I do watch it because The tape, if it's really over extruding, the tape might actually go down into the extruder, so I want to watch that. Now, something else I want to point out, you need to make sure you take the tape off whenever you finish this. I've made the mistake once of leaving the tape on, and that caused a clog. We're just letting this extrude out. And as I said, it's a little slow, but you don't want it to skip any steps. You want it to be nice and easy here and pushing out exactly how much you need. And once we have this, we'll take a measurement, go back to the calculator, and then update our firmware. Or better yet, in Klipper, we'll update our configuration file. And I can see when that stops. Now it has stopped. I'm going to grab the filament, just get it out of the way. Let's see how much came out. Let me switch over and we'll take this measurement. With the tape still on, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to measure. And this is that's at 15, 16, 17 millimeters. So it's extruded 17 millimeters. So let's switch over now back to the calculator. Now, just to be clear here on the actual extrusion, how much was extruded, it's 120 minus 17, so that's 103. I request to the 100, and now I need the old rotation distance. To get that, I'm going to go back over to Mainsail, click on Machine, and I'm going to find the printer.config. So here's printer.config, and let's scroll down to the extruder. So rotation distance is 6.5. So I'm under extruder, rotation distance 6.5. Type in 6.5. We'll hit calculate new rotation distance. And the new rotation distance should be, and it's right here. So I'm just going to copy this. Go over to and we're going to paste this in. That did change things. And we'll hit save and restart, and that will reboot the machine with the new settings. Now I have this on the calculator, so I'm going to point this out. My extrusion difference was over 2 millimeters. So the website, now I put it together, it's going to recommend that you calibrate again. So I'm basically going to run the same calibration a second time. I'm not going to show it on screen. I will show you the results after I run it. I just completed a second run, and I'm going to show you that if I hold this up here, the tape looks like it's right at about 20 millimeters. So that means that when I sent the command, I wanted 100 millimeters filament, I got 100 millimeters of filament. So hopefully that helps. Again, 100 millimeters, just in case I said that wrong. But hopefully you found that helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Have a good day.